Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening. Good evening. We are about to jump into our second discussion for our series in just a second. So, we're going to kick this off. All right. Here we go. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, ladies. How are you this evening? Look, I am so excited. I'm Erica Lynette, the Alignment Activator, founder and CEO of Divignment, which stands for Divine Alignment. Thank you again for joining me this evening as we kick off Ep.2 of our 8-week series in the making. So today we're going to explore identity and really take a deep dive into what that really means. We're going to come at it from 3 different angles: how you see yourself, how others see you, and how God sees you. So yesterday I had the privilege of facilitating a 1-day accelerator workshop for middle school girls, all on Divignment. And so for the icebreaker, I asked them to share a few things, one including one thing that they loved about themselves. And, some of the young ladies were really struggling with that. And they said it out loud. They said, I don't know what I love about myself. And I started thinking about it. And the sad truth is that many of us as grown women struggle with the same question. We may not know either. And so when we look at identity from the standpoint of our own personal perspective, I want you to think about something. How do you see yourself? Do you believe that you are loved, worthy, beautiful? Do you see yourself as strong and confident, growing and evolving, or even sincere? For a long time, I struggled with seeing myself as worthy when it came to making self-care a priority. I had to wrestle with, do I continue to always put others first at the expense of my own health? Or do I believe that I'm worthy of me time and recharging so that I can be my best self, not just for myself, but also for my family and others? And this was really hard for me, especially after I had kids, because I felt guilty for even wanting to have time to myself. For me, it was family first. And, it's really tough, when you're trying to care for yourself as well. I failed at recharging and having me time. It was always just go, go, go. I started having bad acne flare ups on my face from the stress of this nonstop routine. Then some friends were even asking if I was okay because I was losing weight. Sadly, I was just going and going, and it was like there was no end in sight, and it just really became the norm for me. And so I had to learn really and truly to see myself as worthy. And that's when things started to shift. So when it comes to self-image, that's how we see ourselves is so important. Do you see yourself in a positive light? Are you original, kind-hearted, a go-getter, generous, resilient? Or do you see yourself in a more unfavorable way? I'm just ordinary, I'm regular, indifferent, nothing special. During the workshop yesterday, I encouraged these young ladies and I cautioned them to be mindful of what they allow themselves to see on social media, because spending hours and hours at a time each day scrolling through posts and seeing what society says is beautiful, and perfect bodies and perfect makeup and lavish soft life, all this stuff, it looks perfect, but it can really lead to comparison, and it really has no meaningful value. So if we want to elevate and see how we experience identity at a higher level, we have to watch what we are watching on TV and in social media. What we speak is also a reflection of what we see. We've experienced different things, the environment that we're in, what others have said, all of these affect our identity. And another side is how others see us and how we believe they do. When we're surrounded by friends and families and those who are supportive and encouraging and positive, it's likely that those good vibes and positive things are going to rub off on us, right? But unfortunately, the same is true from a negative standpoint. When we lack a solid support system, we might experience neglect by those who are closest to us. They might be bitter or angry or hurting or disconnected themselves. Our relationships are so important. And many times we allow what others say or think to become our truth. And like I shared with these young ladies, one thing that I've learned from experience is that everybody is going to have an opinion, but their opinion does not have to become your truth. Because listen, when you know who you are and whose you are, that's when you become unstoppable. And so that's where our true identity lies. It lies with God because He is the one who has told us who we are. And I struggled for years, for decades, with really knowing who I truly, am. And I allowed other people to tell me what they thought, and I took that on as my truth. But all of that truly changed. It shattered, once I began to learn and accept who God said I was as His daughter. He said in His word that I am great in Psalms. He said in His word that He delights in me, in the book of Zephaniah. He said that I am bold in Second Corinthians. He said that I am gifted in First Peter. He said that I am enough in Colossians, chapter 2, verse 10. And, through, from childhood through adulthood, I've always had somebody say, you're too skinny, you're too tall, your hair is natural, so you won't advance but so far in your career. You're this, you're that. I had to make a decision. Would I continue to allow others, what others say, dominate my thinking? Would I believe it? Or was I going to take God at His word? God, the creator, who knows me better than I even know myself, who designed every single aspect about me, every single detail, and who told me that He is working all things out for my good, all things, not some, all. And that's when the decision became crystal clear. Once I accepted what He said, that's when I began to see the pieces come together. That's when I began to see who I really am. That's when I began to see and start to understand the plan that He has designed for my life. That's when I began to experience true freedom. And that's when my perspective began to change. Like the saying goes, when you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things will change. And it's possible, friend. It's so possible. You don't have to settle for what people or your past or anything else has predetermined for you. You don't have to settle for it. I really hope our chat today has encouraged you because, the path to your true identity in the making is literally right in front of you. All you have to do is just take the first step, and God will continue to guide you the rest of the way. So thank you so much for joining me again this evening. I look forward to our next In the Making chat next week. I invite you to follow our Facebook group, Divignment, and follow us on social. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Take care of yourself, friend. Bye-bye.